Hello there guys, it's Joey and this is a new item for the store. This was a request. This is the first of two actually separate requests for foxy items. This is the Fox Totem Prayer Beads. So it's been a very foxy few days in this household, focusing on this, and then I'm going back and doing the other foxy energy. So one might say I'm surrounded by foxes. Okay, anyway, madness aside. So, foxes are very dear to me, and I fully enjoyed the creation of fox totem prayer beads. So for me, the fox is the magician of the hedgerow. This is the energy that I create for the store in particular. That's how I interpret the energies, how I connect to the energies, and the brand for the store. So what I mean by that is that Fox is a shapeshifter, a magician, a trickster who knows all the paths through the woods. And I'm going to actually read to you from how I see Fox energy from my Fox Magician of the Hedgerow. Fox knows which paths are safe to tread and which are not, as he moves silently, stealthily and invisibly through the hedgerow, and is willing to teach us if we have the wisdom to listen, to be still and present. Fox can sense danger lurking in the light and in the darkness, and she can teach us to be wary, knowing when to engage situations and when to avoid them, for keen eyesight and cunning intellect will serve us just as well as claws and teeth. Fox is a shapeshifter and the magician of the hedgerow, possessing knowledge, wisdom and magic. He is in complete control of his power and can deepen our instincts and improve our psychic senses when we embrace his wisdom. Fox knows the mysteries of the hedgerow and can freely cross these boundaries, and she will guide us along the hedgeline paths if we are swift and nimble of foot. Now, if you are paying close attention to my words describing the energies of the fox as the magician of the hedgerow, you will notice that we switch between masculine and feminine indicators of who we're talking about, and that's done on purpose because fox has a duality to it, and shapeshifters often do that. You can't really pinpoint down the gender of working with spiritual foxes, and they like to play with that and shift around with that and almost trick you with that. There's something very wonderful about it, about how fluid they are in terms of their energies, and that's how I see them, as being in complete control of their destiny. And it's all very fluid, and it might look complicated from the outside because we're not perceiving on their level. So that's on purpose, and I really wanted to talk about that duality because there is a duality within the prayer beads as well. I actually went for 3 different beads, although one of them is only present in, I don't know how you put it, bits of one, beads of one, as dividers. And the divider here is Snowflake Obsidian, and it acts as though it is the boundary, the hedgerow. I'm going to read to you all the meanings of the chosen crystals in a moment, but we'll talk about the sort of numerology type value behind it, and why there is the divisions that there are with the particular beads. And this amazing charm. I went hunting for a charm to be perfect for this particular prayer beads, and if we zoom in, it's just stunning. It's copper, and copper has its own properties. Actually, I didn't think to mark the page for copper properties. Let me just grab it and I will read to you from the Book of Stones. Now, I do know where it is roughly. There we go. Channeling and grounding higher vibrations, conducting and enhancing stone energies. So copper as a metal here just resonates beautifully with the rest of the set. It's an element of earth and applies to all chakras. And the affirmation from the Book of Stones is, I call upon the higher worlds to manifest on earth through me. So it really wonderfully applies to grounding the energies. Copper also teaches the way of balance and respect for the earth and its beings, and I think that lends itself to Fox energy beautifully. Fox who knows the paths, who knows where nature is safe, where nature is not safe, and in so much modern consciousness represents the battle against humanity and humanity's senseless, in a lot of cases, murdering of animals for sport. And fox hunting is at the forefront of our minds in this country as we fight to keep the ban. So it works on that level. It also supports all the energies of the rest of the beads around it, and of course it lends itself to an earthy nature. When I was actually discussing with a lady who this is for, she didn't want citrine and understood that there should be an earthiness, but wanted a little bit of a fieriness as well. And the beads that lend themselves naturally, particularly two of them, are very, very fiery, I think, but they also lend themselves to an earthy energy as well. So I think we struck the balance here. Right. I will talk about the other crystal meanings, as I said, after we've done the numerology. I thought we'd stop and just briefly mention the copper. Right, so as you can see at the top here, the gateway into the rest of the beads is to obsidian. Snowflake obsidian, in fact. And each little bead... hang on. Have you crossed over? Each little link has been individually made from wire, the same as the last time. So it's a little bit painstaking, but I feel that it's worth it because my energy is going into each creation from wire of each link. So there you go, and the links are in threes. Yes, life, death and rebirth energies, numerology of 3 here. We have 3 different coloured beads, so again it lends itself to the cycles and to all that can be and all that ever will be and all that ever was. And I really enjoy the number 3 in terms of Celtic numerology, life, death and rebirth, earth, sea and sky, and so on and so forth. There are many, many triads, and I think 3 lends itself best to these prayer beads in a lot of senses, and that's why underpinning it, it will always have 3. With the wires will always be 3 loops and then beads and things for that reason. So we have the snowflake obsidian as the hedgerow, as I said, so it represents the mystery, the scrying, the unknown, the barrier, the other. I'm going to talk more about in depth in a minute about particular meanings. And then we have carnelian and snow quartz. And so we start off here with 1 bead of each, and then we move on to 3 of the carnelian and the snow, and then again separated by the snowflake obsidian, and then we move on to 4 of each, and they've actually crossed. They've crossed over to the other side. Hello, that's me. Anyway, again, another separator, and then 5 carnelian, and then 5 snow quartz or milk quartz, and then the... Did I say 5? That's 5 carnelian, 5 snow quartz. Again, the boundary of the 1 here for the snowflake, and then we go back down to 4 and then 3. So at the very, very top we have the 5, and the 5 is a good number for all sorts of reasons. 5, we have the balance of the 5 elements, but it's also a good number when you consider what its numerology value often is in terms of, say, tarot numbers and things. 5 is often a little bit of a conflict, and I think it's good to have that energy as a starting point perhaps, or as the middle point. Technically speaking, it is the middle point. So often we use prayer beads or pagan prayer beads, or however you wish to sort of ascribe a title to them, in times of conflict, and we're looking for resolution, we're looking for peace, we're looking for a meditative value, we're looking to honour our gods who have helped us through conflict and so on and so forth. And often the middle ground of any situation is the conflict, and that can be worked in, and looking for balance within conflict here is a theme of fives, because five, technically speaking, is a balance of all the elements. It is the pentacle, the star, the symbol of paganism, but it can also represent a little bit of chaos, a little bit of conflict, and so looking for our personal centre in times of crisis is a really good middle ground to have right at that point. 4 again is a good number. It's earth, water, fire and air. It's a structured energy. It's 4 is very, very grounding, very, very firm, and then we have the 3 beads for the energies that I have already ascribed. So carnelian is a fiery crystal. I think it's one of the more earthy fire crystals, though. It's rooted in the root chakra, so it does have that deep sensuality and sexuality and brings that fire, but because it is through the root chakra and we can ground ourselves through the root chakra, I think it's probably quite an earthy fire energy, so I think it balances out quite well. So from the Book of Stones, we'll go with Nature Asian. Carnelian is a powerful ally to call upon when one needs to take major action. It lends courage to take the leap, a foxy leap in this case, and dedicate oneself to a new path. And I think this lends itself to fox energy so perfectly, because foxes know how to weave their way through the woods and find their way through the woods, and taking that leap, having that courage to change path when one needs to, is absolutely in keeping with foxy energies, and I really, really like it. And this fox even looks a little bit like he's leaping and placing his feet carefully and finding paths. Carnelian can assist those who procrastinate or who are unable to decide on a course of action. When used in meditation, it can help one to understand how to bring a concept into being. It is helpful in manifestation work due to its ability to stimulate one to take action towards one's goals. The saying, "God helps those who help themselves," describes the energy of carnelian beautifully. Another aspect of carnelian is its ability to strengthen and fortify the physical body, enhancing the flow of life force energy and its expression through physical vitality. When we neglect the physical, we are neglecting the temple in which our spirit resides. Spiritual. Carnelian assists in taking action to manifest one's highest goals and dreams. Emotional can help one to overcome fear of taking action or fear of doing the wrong thing. Physical lends vitality and energy to the physical body. It helps one purify and sanctify the body as a temple of spirit. Affirmation: I am filled with the vital energies of life and I take action with confidence and power. And then Snowflake Obsidian from the Book of Stones. Now that's our hedgerow crystal. Carrying Snowflake Obsidian encourages courage and persistence to those on the edge of hope. It assists one in perceiving sources of support that may have been overlooked or taken for granted. Helps us to pay attention to the details, receiving guidance for the clues that come through interaction with others and the experiences of the earth walk. It is a stone of the tracker, allowing one to attune to one's environment and perceive the flow of universal energy that forms and supports it. In my evolutionary process, I call for assistance from the universe and all friends in spirit, and I ask to be shown everything I need to see how to heal and awaken myself. It is the perfect hedgerow crystal. It's those that are looking at the void and seeing only the hopelessness of the void, to take stock of what's actually there, to take stock of your guides and your lessons on earth, and the courage to face those barriers that we need to overcome. It is the perfect crystal for hedgerows, and I chose a lot of in fact I chose them all on intuition, and I'm really, really pleased with the outcome. So then we have snowy quartz or milky quartz, and this is actually from the Crystal Bible because I couldn't see it in the Book of Stones, which was slightly odd. Also known as milk quartz. Supports you while learning the lessons and helps you to let go of overwhelming responsibilities and limitations. It's perfect for people who feel put upon whilst actually creating that situation because they need to be needed. Enhances tact and cooperation. It helps you to think before you speak. When used in meditation, it links to deep inner wisdom previously denied in yourself and society. Is appropriate whenever clear quartz may be used, but its effect is gentler, but still effective. The reason for having this crystal in here is actually as a balancing crystal. It's a lot more feminine than carnelian and snowflake obsidian tend to be. I use the terms loosely because, to be honest, it's basically applying gender to particular energies, and I don't really agree with it, but it's basically at the softer side of energies. It is the support crystal. My big healing crystal, my big mama crystal, I can grab it actually, is mostly milky snow quartz. So there she is, and it's a wonderful support crystal for healing and really taking care of oneself. Now, snow quartz means that you have to look at what you're doing and take stock of what you're doing and realize, you know, where the limitations are that you've put upon yourself, but it's not overwhelming. Now, carnelian is a very proactive, very fiery crystal. It's all about courage and action and will and go and drive, and snowy quartz is not in that same energy box. It's a little bit like patience and taking care of oneself and being gentle with oneself, which are the two sides that we have discussed within Fox energy at the beginning, knowing when to act and when not to, and therefore the balance is maintained within the prayer beads of Fox Totem energy. So I hope you like them. I'm really, really pleased with them. I love how they came. And that's it for this video, and many blessings.